for that. Now I'll start recording. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So SQL, I'm not sure how you'll be using it. Okay, but okay, that's a putty. Even I'm not sure how you are using, but if you are interested, see, actually I created one this you have this free Unix server, right? So what we can do is if you are interested, you can I'll give you access to this. You can have this access, and you can you can use this Unix in this shell. So this is have this bash shell actually. Okay, so I mean that is one thing, but I don't think you guys have this. You have different way of doing. Okay, you can continue that if you are interested. I can provide you this Unix. So this is basically you are having this access. Okay, not admin access, but access as a user. Okay, to use the files, to move a file, to edit a file, to those kind of things. Only limited as a user, not an admin. You cannot install any software in Unix, and it's not on the thing. You don't have the root access. Okay, you'll be having only the. If you're interested, I can provide it. Otherwise, I'm not sure how you'll be using it. Check with your, respective trainer, like maybe Tagore, and for Unix, Sanjay will be helping you out. For SQL, Sanjay or Tagore will be helping you out how to navigate that through the VPN. Mostly I think it should be VPN. They'll be helping you out. Okay. So, and even for this HPLM, you need this VPN. So okay. So people who have this VPN, check with your respective managers. They have to give you credentials. Okay, if you have these credentials, you can log in through VPN. Okay, so normally, right, if you are connected to this VPN, right, like this, if you are connected to this VPN, you can directly access to your browser. Okay, so check with your HR managers. Okay, so they have to. If not, check with Tagore and Sanjay. Okay, so they will help you. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, so this is HPALM, so Hewlett Packard application lifecycle management. Okay, and so this is also a test management tool. Okay, so we have worked with Rally. Remember, we worked with Rally, and so that is Rally is more for agile. Okay, so if you are using agile, you use this Rally. But let's say you're not using agile, or you're using a completely different test management tool, then you have to use this HPLM. So HPLM is one more tool, alternative to Rally. Okay. If you are in waterfall methodology or any other methodology and they are not using Rally, you can have this ALM. So this is application lifecycle management. Okay, so this is little bit obsolete. So this HPLM little bit obsolete because it's more redundant work, actually technically more redundant. You have to do more work to setting up your test cases and navigating to them than executing it. So we this is more for waterfall methodology and who has plenty of time. Okay, plenty of time, and they know what they're doing and all those things. So HPLM is for them. But Rally is good. If you are good with the Rally and you understand that, that should be good. Okay. So here is thing. There's similar similar features here. Okay. So there are basically 3 modules. So in this you have this 4 modules. Okay. One is requirements. Requirements is done by a business analyst. Okay, they create these requirements, and you have this test plan where you write your test cases. Again, you have this test lab where you execute your test cases. Okay, and then you have these defects. Okay, so 4 modules: requirements, test plan, test lab, and defects. So this is what we'll be working on. Okay, so requirements. Okay, we are not creating this requirement unless you are going as a business analyst. If you are going as a business analyst, yeah, you'll be creating these requirements. But if you are going as a tester, then you'll be only working with test plan, test lab, and defects. Okay, requirements only to view. You'll be having only view access, not to read access, not to write and execute access, only the read access will be having for the requirements. So let's go to the requirement tab. Check here. We have this. Okay, let's say we have this already, this requirement which is already there. So we'll use this. So this is requirement. And here you have these various modules, details and attachments. If you have any attachments, if the defects is linked. See the reason this you have this, right? Let's say sometimes the defects becomes requirement. That means the defect is so big, the developer cannot solve it. So what they do is that they convert into requirements. So so that they will improve more features and more more functionalities into it and put into it. So that's the reason they have this link defect, so that they can link that existing defect to this requirement, saying that this requirement was created because of this defect. Okay, that's the reason you have this. Any development, so developer updates here, any development activity. So we'll go through this RTM. So this is requirement traceability matrix. We'll work on that one. And this test coverage. Okay, so this test coverage shows you like how many test cases are covered. So this is useful when business analysts want to check how we have to proceed and how are we going to move with this user story. So in that case, they'll look into this one. Okay, and we have the other history. In this case, so history, you can check how many people have viewed this, how many people are accessing this. Okay, so this is all about the requirements. That's it. I mean, you'll be having this requirement. You are not going to edit anything. You're not going to change anything in requirement. You will not have that access. Okay, so that's write access. Okay, you don't have that access. Here you have this information here like GMO post. Okay, and to check, I mean that's it. In the real time also you might have this only this information. So they don't say anything. Okay, this you need to understand that they will not have all the information will be here. You don't expect everything to be here. Okay, you need to figure it out. What you need to test and what you are, what you should be working on. Okay, so you never have complete information. So if you have complete information, why they are you, right? So you never have this complete information. You need to check. You need to check with your lead or check with your, business analyst or you need to verify with them. Sometimes you need to verify because someone will say something, some information, but it's sometimes it doesn't reflect in the document. So you need to verify. We verify with 2 to 3 people. Okay. Okay. So here you have this, this URL. So this is, this is you need to test. Okay. So let's go to the test plan. Any questions in requirements? So that's how, I mean, the requirements you'll be having the information, but you are not going to create a requirement. Okay, you can create a requirement, although here you have this access. You can go here and click here and you can create. But in the real time, I mean, you will not have access to this, so you can never create a requirement. Okay, unless you're a BA, or you sometimes they give you access. But it's not necessary. You have to create a requirement. Okay, so here you have this all the features. What's the requirement is like group or business or testing, functional testing, security testing. So what kind of requirements, and then you can create here. Okay, so any questions in requirements? So let's go to the test plan. Okay, so let's say you have this, so many directories here, so we don't know which directory you'll be working on, right? So you need to figure it out, okay, which directory, because there are so many projects going on, like thousands of projects and hundreds of team working on, a lot of things going on. Okay, so what you'll do is like you need to figure it out which which directory. Or so what you can do is you can create your own folder here. Okay, let's say this is my project. Okay, so this is my project. So this is like, IT America test cases. So I've created this. Okay, and no, let's create an, let's say you want to create this, because you need to create it, but nobody will create for you. Okay, you need to create it. So what I'll do is like click on this folder and create one directory. Okay, and let's put the name it. This is November 23rd is our last. And okay, so I have created a directory. Okay, so this has come. So make sure you. So this is this HPLM is a little bit different. You need to always refresh it to make it organized. Okay, so let's refresh it, and that comes in a new folder. Okay. So here we have this directory created. So we created our directory. You have to create your own directory, your own folder, and you need to put all the information in that. So unless specified, okay, unless says like your lead says no, create on this folder or create on this. Otherwise, you need to create your own directory. Okay, nobody will tell you to create. Okay, and now we'll create a test set here. Okay, it's kind of test. Okay, test cases. So this is where you need to write test cases, right? Click on this. Okay, so let's put the same name here. Okay, so these red ones are priority. I mean, these red ones are required. That means you cannot escape. You need to fill this information. So we'll just put as medium priority. Go as medium. And here you have this option, right? You have manual. You're doing manual testing. If you're doing performance, okay. Are you doing like automated? So you have this automation. Okay. System testing, or you have the business process, and so on. So we'll stick with manual. Okay, so we'll just put as manual. Reviewed. If it is reviewed, then put as reviewed. If it is not reviewed, then put as not reviewed. Creation date, today's creation date, meeting, designer who is actually writing this test case. So it will be you who is writing, and reviewer if your lead. Who is your lead? Put the lead name. Okay, let's put the lead name and test our effort. Let's say it requires some time for testing as well as so it's in hours. Okay, so we are just putting in hours. Let's put this 10 hours. That means 8 hours today, whole day we'll be working on, and next day we'll be working on 2 more hours. So test effort, test priority, just leave it alone, and click OK. Okay. Okay, so we have created a test set, but not exactly the test cases. Okay, here only the information. We have just created one set. Okay. So now you need to write test cases here. So you have these modules, all modules here, design steps, and parameters, So we'll be working on design steps to write the test case, and the parameters, with parameters affects these test cases, attachments, if there's any attachment. So, this is not really required in this, trust me. I don't know why they introduced this one, because you already have test lab. In that you have again this module. So this test plan is, attachment section is really not required. Okay. So we have this test configuration, test coverage, link defects. Again, this module is, these two modules actually, it's outdated. I mean, it's not actually required. Okay. And then you have these dependencies. Okay. And business model and history. Because in history, you can check it in history. Okay, so let's write test cases. So you go to this design steps. Okay, click on new step. So you see this new step. Click on that. Okay, here you have the step name is step. Step name is step 1. And let's say, let's write the test cases for GMO. So, last time we have written for GMO, right? So this time we'll write for Safari. Let's say, you're testing in Safari or Firefox. Let's write for Firefox. Okay. So there is again the two things, like description, expected results. What's the description? What is the expected result? Okay. So just put as enter GMO. The Firefox browser. Okay, so we wrote for Chrome. Let's write for the Firefox. So expected is the page is home page. Home page of home page of GMO online is displayed. Okay, you click OK. Here we have written this test case. Okay. Okay, and now this is the first test case. Now you need to continue writing. So you click again here. New test. New step again. So let's say if you are writing here, enter GMO online. So let's put this, click on online button. Okay. So what is the next page we get is online catalog page. Okay. And this page is redirected to online catalog page. Okay, and click on OK. Use step 3. One more step. Let's type one more step. Enter 3% DOM tent. Okay, enter the value for the Excel. Enter the value for not 10. Enter order quantity. Okay. Okay. And click on place in order. Okay. And click on place in order. So place order with page is displayed. Let's follow this. Okay. Page is redirected to Okay, so here again we have this issue, right? So here you have this, after step 1, it's step 3 is showing up. So, you drag it, and put it here. Okay, so now in that case, you can, so what you can do is, right, click here and drag this to the upper or lower, so that, you'll have this. Okay, sometimes in the step 1, like it shows up step 4. Okay, so it's not to happen. So, what you can do is, you can drag that, okay, and put it again back in here. Okay. The same way, you can again drag it, put it here. Okay, so this is also similar to Rally. Rally also has the same issue. Okay, so now let's create one more test case. Okay, click on proceed with order. Button. Page is redirected to billing information page. Okay. Now let's write one more test case. Just fill up all this information here. So if your shipping address doesn't matches here, so you need to put your own address here. Okay, so in this case, we'll just put it and okay. So here what we will be writing is enter all the information and click on place the order button. Okay, and the page is redirected to online store receipt. Okay, online store receipt page. Okay, and you go here. Okay, so we have this test case. So this is how you can write the test case. Okay, so this is how you can write the test case in HPAL. Okay, any questions? So this is like little different way of writing the test case. Here you need to the user interface is like different. So here you have this, in Rally it's like pretty easy, you just need to write the test case. But here the user interface is completely different. Okay, so and they use a different, whole different software to use this. They use Ajax and all those things. Okay, so it's like completely different user interface. Okay, so here once you have written this test case, okay, and what you can do is that checking, just checking. Okay. Okay, so we have just checked in the code. We checked in the test case. Okay. So, okay. So now what we will do is, this is how you can create the test cases. Okay. Now we'll just go quickly through this requirement coverage. Okay, so this is called a requirement traceability matrix. Okay, so we are done with the writing the test case. So I'll show you how to use that test lab, how we use it, because test lab is completely different. Okay, so you need to pull those test cases. Okay, you need to pull those test cases from the test plan to the test lab. Okay, so we'll work on that one. So requirement traceability matrix. So let's say this is called RTM. RTM in sense that means all the test cases should match at least one requirement. Okay, so all the test cases should at least match one requirement. So that's called requirement traceability matrix. So let's say you have this requirement, okay, and you select this requirement, and you get this in the right sidebar. You have this requirement tree. So that means you are trying to navigate this to your requirement module, and you need to find out which project you are working on. Then you find this GMO online, and you just click here and drag this here. Okay, so you're good. That means you are actually mapping those test cases to that requirements. Okay, you have written these test cases, right? You have written these test cases. Now you're mapping. That means you are telling you're letting the business analyst know that I have written test cases for this requirement. So it's good. We are good. So that means now business analyst is aware that you have written test cases and can move forward with other requirement or other work, whatever it is. Okay, so this is requirement traceability matrix. Okay, that means all the requirements, all the test cases should at least match one requirement. Okay, so let's go to the test lab. Okay, so here again you need to start from scratch. Okay, here that's the only thing that is in HPLM. It's a little bit it's a different. Okay, it's different from any other tool because you need to again create one more directory. Okay, and you need to pull out all those test cases. So let's go here. Okay, let's say you are working on this. Okay, you are working on this test case, and you need to create a test set here. Okay, so click on this, and we'll just put this same name. Okay, that we remember. So that's the complicated, this is the complication version of this HPLM, right? So when you can, that's what Rally made it simple. In Rally, when you're writing test cases, you can execute the test cases same where it is. Okay, you don't have to move your test cases here and there. But here you need to do this. Okay, because this, this is something which is redundant work. Okay, but that's how they designed it. Okay. Okay, so we just put this manually. Seven. Okay, type. We'll just put a, if you are functional, we'll put a default. Okay, and you need to again fill up this information here. Okay, you need to fill up all this information. So what is baseline? We have this application name. You can just put this application name. Let's change that. Just move that. We'll just put this GitHub. Change by is the name. Whoever wants to change it, so we'll put as created a student state. Okay, created by, since I'm the one who created, default environment. We'll go just with default, and it's normally the test environment. Okay, so we'll go as recommended environment 2. Max duration. Well, since we use this, we use this 10 hours. Okay. It's not always like 10 hours, it might be less or more, but for to just okay, and responsible. Just put it as if you're lead, if someone else is responsible, we can put the responsible name. Okay, if you are only one, you can put in your name, and this status is open. Target cycle, if there's any cycle, if there's any build, you can put as a build. And after filling all this information, click on OK. So now you have actually created a test set here. Okay, only the set. You have not done anything. Okay, you have just created a test set. Now you want to select these test cases. Okay, but all the test cases we have written in test plan, not in test lab. Test lab, we don't write anything, we execute the test case. So you need to select this, select test, click on select test. And here it's the right side, there's a new bar shows up, and you navigate the bar and you find out where your, where is your test case. Let's put here, and this test case. And drag it here. Okay, just drag. Okay. Okay. So let's not worry about that. Okay. So we don't. Okay. So this is actually all this issue, right? So let's put the details. So this one we need to check. Because we put any baseline. Okay. Change the baseline. Now it should be good. Okay, good. Now let's try it again. Select test. Okay, we're working on the 7th one. Yes, click on 7th and try it here. Okay, good. Okay, so now we have successfully placed this test cases in the test lab. Okay. So what we are trying to do is, see, I mean, that's the reason, right? That's why I call this tool as obsolete. So it's actually, I'm not sure how many people are using at the client places. Okay, so why? Because you're writing the test case in the test plan. You are executing test case and test lab. You don't have to. Rally is pretty good. You have this where you're writing, you can execute there. But this is, you want to pull the test case. I'm not sure why the design so, this is actually pretty complicated. Okay, so even, I understood like after like 3-4 years, like, what I'm doing and what I have to do. Okay. So this is not much user friendly, to be honest. This is, not very user friendly to use this. Okay. So what you have to do is like, you need to pull the test cases from the test plan. So once you go to test lab, create the test set, The test set you're creating because you want to put your bulk of test cases in one set, right? Like let's say you have bulk of papers you're putting in one file, okay, one folder. So that's the reason you're creating a folder. Inside a folder you're creating actually the folder. Inside the folder you're actually putting the document. So it's kind of like that. Okay, so now you have created this test cases. So this is a test set and you have created this test set, and here you have all this information here. Okay. Okay. And now you need to execute this test case. Okay. Okay. You need to execute this test case. So what we'll do is like, this. So you can put any number of test case here. Let's say if you want to put, this, you can drag it here. So now you have this two. Okay. Again, you want to drag, more test case. You can put that. Okay. Now you want to use more. Okay, you can use that too. So you can put any number of test cases in this. So let's say you're working on so many browsers. Let's say you're working on IE, you're working on Firefox, you're working on Chrome, Safari, and so on. So in that case, if your project is one, you just put as your project name and you put all these sets of test cases in this one. That means this is for Chrome, this is for Firefox, this is for Safari, and this is for IE, and so on. Okay. Okay. So this is the test case what we'll be working on. So click on this and we'll just run it. Okay. So once this gets highlighted, run. If you have this option run, click on run. So in this one, right, whenever you're trying to run, make sure the application is always open. Okay. So again, you need to click on begin run. Okay. So you have this, these steps. What we have written these steps. Now you need to execute. So it says like, enter GMO online URL in the Firefox browser. So let's open this Firefox browser. Put this URL. Okay. So this is what it's showing up. So home page of GMO online is displayed successfully as per the requirement. So this is the actual. So this is the expected and this is the actual. And you pass this test case. So click on pass. Now enter GMO online button. Click on enter GMO online button. And the page is navigated to this page. So we'll just write. Page is redirected to one page as per the requirement. Okay. And hit pass. So this is like, if it is pass, you click this, check mark. If it is failed, you click on this, okay, icon. Okay. And enter the order quantity which you are using. Click on placing order and places just because page is redirected to place an order page as per the requirement. Okay, and hit again check mark, and once again page is redirected to billing information page. Click on billing information page and you have to solve yes, click on. Okay, so fast. Okay, so let's say you have this issue. Page is redirected to online page. Let's say page is not redirecting to the online page, or there is some issue here. So what we'll just put is, just put as issue. The page is not redirecting, to online receipt page, and I'll fail this test case. Click on this fail and click on this end run. Once you fail this, see, even if one test case is failed, whole test set is failed. Okay, so click on end run. Click on end run. You see this? This gets updated from no run to fail. Okay, and all the information here is displayed here. Okay, so whenever you are actually, whenever you are working, right, make sure, you don't do, change the status from here. Although you can change it, you can, here, let's say you want to put as pass and you put as passed, okay, you can do that. But, here you have this information of time, okay. So they check which time did you execute this. So how is it possible that you have all executed all this test case in 11:29, 53 seconds? How is it possible that you have executed all this test case in just 1 second? Not even 1 second gap, right? So never do this. So they will immediately catch you saying that, oh, you just click on this path, you never ran this. Okay, you need to run this manually. So when you run this manually, right here, the time, it shows the difference of time. 11:27, here it's 11:28, okay, 11:29. So that means you have really spent your time in testing that application. But in this case, it shows as no time spent. You just change it to pass. That's it. So that's not a good idea. Okay, unless unless you're being told by your manager, or your lead says, okay, hey, you can change it to here because it's no more, we are no more working here, or just click on not applicable, okay, or your blog, sometimes it's blog. Otherwise, you don't change it to pass or fail, just like that, okay, because here all the information is recorded and they'll catch you immediately, okay. So that's about the test lab. Okay, so this is how you can, you can execute your test cases in the test lab module. Any questions so far in test plan, test lab, requirements?
How do we capture requirements? Like, do we update, like upload from somewhere, or we have to do it manually?
Oh, you mean the requirements?
Yeah.
Requirements is not our job. So if you are business analyst, you have to create your own requirements. If you are working as a business analyst, if you are QA, you are not worried about requirements. You just go to this, this module and view that requirement. That's it. See the description, what they have written, what we have to do. That's it. But creating requirement or putting screenshots or adding something in that is not our job. Should not do anything with that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So only the requirements only to view, only just to view what what is there exactly and what you have to do. What you have to do is never specified in the requirements. They just say this is the requirement and you need to test that. So what you need to test is never said in the requirement. So don't even bother like, okay, what I am doing, it's your job. They will not tell you. Nobody will tell you. Only to view that requirement because you're trying to understand what as it says and how approach, how can I approach based on that requirements. That you need to figure it out and write test cases for that. That's it.
So in case of agile framework, can we use this HPLM or not?
No, that's a very good question. Actually, in agile framework, you can still use HPLM, but I would say it's not very productive, because the reason, right, you need to pull out these test cases, and again you need to pull out here everything. You can use it, no big deal, you can use it. The thing is, you are actually wasting your time in just pulling out and writing and pulling down all this, creating directories, creating folders. No, you're actually wasting time, to be honest, because agile is fast moving environment. You don't want to waste much time just writing test cases, or pulling up this, moving here and there. You don't want to do that. So yeah, otherwise you can use it. No issue.
So if you are using like agile framework in your resume, like say we should not mention this HPALM, right?
Or you can do that. I mean, no issues. Yeah, you can do that. Even personally, I've worked in agile and I also used HPLM. So you can use that. So no big deal. But thing is, you also need to specify saying that, hey, we used to use, then later they migrate this tool into different tool. Why? Because of course it's not productive. So okay, so anyhow they will be migrating even if they are using HPLM in agile. So
So what is the tester job while migrating from HPALM to Jira or something like that?
no, it's not related to any testing job. So we are not going to test anything. So it's done by the administrators. So done by the HPLM administrator, or if you have Jira administrator, those guys will be doing all the job. Migrating is not our job. Only testing.
So we don't need to test anything, whether whatever there in the whatever test cases are there in HPALM, are they present in Jira or not? We don't need to test it, is it?
I didn't get your question. So what you mean to say is like you have written test case in HPLM, and you're saying like they are migrated to Jira, and you're saying like you need to test that.
No, like whether whatever you have written test cases in HPLM, whether they are present in Jira right now or not, do we need to test it or not? No.
Normally that kind of that thing doesn't happen.
Okay.
Why? Because normally when you are actually if you have written these test cases in HPLM, you are going to see that into HPLM. Whenever the migration is going to happen, so they will inform you. So there will be some time. So what you are doing, it will be in one platform. So you are saying that there's two different platforms, right? One is in HPLM, the other is in Jira. So that doesn't happen normally.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I mean they have this organized way of doing that work. Okay, so they will be pretty much organized and systematic order. So that's a rare case to happen, but even if it happens, then of course you need to test it. Yeah, you need to test, because you will be the responsible person for testing those test cases. So answer is yes. If that rare case happens, you need to test it.
Test in the sense, like test in the sense again, test the application, or like
Yeah, so that becomes a lot of work, because you need to check that migration from that, what test cases you have written in HPALM is the present into, the Jira. Okay. And that is one thing. And the other is, of course, application testing you have to do. Not second time. If you have already done, that's good. I mean, you already done that application testing using this tool, using HPLM, then you're good. And the migration, you can check, what are the test cases you have written. Is it still there? All the test cases are still there? Okay. So you can check that one. But otherwise, application wise, if you have tested once, that's good. You don't need to test another time.
okay, thanks.
Okay.
So are you going to like shows like how to write a test cases for ETL like source and target data mapping and all those test cases, like you're going to show us, or
So this is for QA, right? So this is QA. So I'll be more inclined on QA point of view. So ETL, Maybe mostly like Tagore or Sanjay will take care of it. Tagore, mostly Tagore. ETL test cases. You know how to write ETL test cases.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I didn't know that actually, so sorry about that.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, I'm more into QA point of view, so I'll be so QA is more front end. So when you say QA, it's like front end, and there's also like ETL QA. Okay, so that is completely different. That involves front end and back end. But here we will be only working on front end applications.
So basically, I worked long back. Like we can upload Excel sheet into this HPALM, right? Can you please show us the path how to do that?
Right, you can do that. Okay, so you need that add-in actually. So I don't have this add-in installed. Okay, so let's see. So you have that add-in in the Excel. Okay. So when you have this Excel, right? Let's say you have written your test cases in this Excel, and okay, so someone asked, right, like what is the like possible test types? Okay, so the test type, yeah, manual. You have this manual. You have performance. You have automation. You have system. A lot of test cases. Okay, so so once you have this, right, you have this add-in, separate add-in like QC add-in. You get this QC add-in where you can connect to that specific URL. So that will be this URL, and for that URL, you'll be specifying which directory. You'll be directly navigating to that, and then you'll be connecting to that particular directory, and then you can upload the test case. So once you upload it, all this gets uploaded in this test plan. Okay. So only thing is like I'm not able to install that add-in here. Actually, I tried it. That is actually more so administrator have to take care of it to put that add-in. Okay. Okay. So to install that add-in, you need HPLM administrator to install that add-in in your so basically that's a plugin. That's a plugin that gets plugged into this Excel, and from that Excel, whenever you write this, you click on that plugin, and it directly gets uploaded into HPLM. So yeah, of course, you need to get this through that process, like you have which directory you are looking on, what is your username, what is your password, all this information we'll be putting into that plugin, and once you connect it, you have this option upload, and all those test cases will be uploaded and shows up here. Okay, so you need to follow that specific, the 3 columns. So basically here you have this 3 column, right? You need to, create that 3 columns, and you need to upload. Otherwise, it doesn't get uploaded. You need to have that format actually. Format. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions?
So you're going to give the access for this too, right?
So this is okay. So for VPN, right? You have to check with your HR manager. So they have that VPN and these credentials, username and password for this HPLM. You can check with them, or email Tagore. Mostly your manager actually. Whoever manager you are in New Jersey, check with Usha, or if you are in like Virginia, check with Renu, or like someone whoever is respect your manager. They will
Okay.
they will email you the credentials and as well as the VPN access for this, so you can have the access. So I mean, if you are like just look through for you, if you are like just to, you have used this and, you can use this. But if you're comfortable, if you can be comfortable with Rally is good, easy access and easy, user friendly basically. Okay. Any more questions?
How many more classes are there for QA?
For QA, like more, so we are completing on 23rd, right? So 3 more class.
So after that, you are going to take the question, like question and answer session, right? Like one, or like whenever we have some like questions, or you want me to call you, like how it's going to work.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can call me or you can email me. Just email me, okay, first, okay, so that you can also call me, okay. If I don't respond, email me so that I'll call you back.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
if you have any questions related to ETL or QA, I can be able to answer the questions.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks.
Any more questions?
I have one more question. In case of regression testing, what we do, we have to write all the test cases again, or we have to like copy whatever we have done, like how it's going to work in case of regression testing?
So regression testing is actually done by a separate team altogether. So there are like, let's say if you have 3 teams, one is functional team, regression team, and performance team. Okay, so all these 3 people have their own job to do. Okay, there's no way related to each another. Okay, normally it's nothing to relate to each other. Manual testing will do his manual job. Regression testing will do his regression job. That is, creating the test scripts, running the scripts. Okay, and performance testing has its own, own job. So there is no way related to each other. So they have to create their own test cases by themselves. Does it make sense? You cannot, like, yeah, you can copy some of the test case. Okay, if there's regression team, right? Let's say you are the only one. Let's say you are the only one to do manual testing and regression testing. Okay, there might be some scenarios such. There will be scenario. So in that case, yeah, you can copy it, and you need to tweak that test cases, saying that okay, this is automation and this is manual. So you're putting that in brackets. You're putting as automation. Okay, so now all the test cases you need to put as automation. Okay. Otherwise, there is a separate team that will be working on this regression testing. Does it make sense?
So are you going to show like how does the automation testing works?
Yeah, I'll be giving you introduction on QTP. Okay, so but if you are really interested in QTP, okay, so I have this software. I have already given everyone access to this Google Drive, right? So
Yeah.
so you have this Google Drive, right? You have this software, okay. So if you want to download, let's quickly check. Go to this drive and you have this option 24th, dietary number 24, and click on this automation tools, and you have this QTP. Click on QTP and download UFT 12.51. Okay, so this is pretty big. If you want to learn about this UFT, you can do this. Okay, and this 30 said like 30-day version, so you need to use 30 days. It will be there for 30 days. Okay, you can use it. So I'll be giving you one class on introduction and QTP and showing you like how to what are the buttons and what are the features, how can you run the test case. So only just one class, so that might not be enough if you're going as a automation tester. But yeah, to the introduction, I'll be giving one class. So if people who didn't receive any email, send me an email to manu@itamerica.com. Okay. So that I'll add you in the list, and we can I'll send you that. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? So Monday, yeah, make sure guys, you need to you have this homework, right? Make sure you guys do the homework, okay? Okay. Thank you guys.